Hello and welcome to Military Mayday. We're pointing out a few pieces on the chessboard. I'm going to call this one a tale of two Gazas. Apparently, they're getting ready to split Gaza in half and they're going to isolate the north. Yeah, we're making a nice slow roll. Everything's going as planned. Let's get into it here. Tel Aviv, Israeli forces were pushing across Gaza and from the Mediterranean coast early Thursday, cutting the enclave in two and isolating densely populated urban areas in the north where armored and infantry units were battling Hamas militants and United Nations and former Israeli officers. Fighting was especially intense in several neighborhoods in northern Gaza, where Israeli troops attacked early Thursday in Karama and Zeitoun, moving closer to the center of Gaza City. Backed by airstrikes and in some cases by gunfire from warships offshore, according to Israeli military officials. The UN said it had halted humanitarian aid deliveries to the north, where 300,000 residents were thought to have stayed behind despite evacuation orders from Israeli military. And talk about the smart ones. Gaza City and northern Gaza have been largely cut off because of the fighting, the UN said. Israeli forces south towards Gaza. These are the fighting areas, the ones in circles. Ground operations are here. This is claimed Israeli advances. This is ground operation. This is advancement. Israeli authorities have said that they would ensure safe passage for civilians who want to head south to escape the fighting. By splitting Gaza and fighting north and south of Gaza City, Israel has created a two-front war for Hamas. But that has also meant committing Israeli troops to fight in the northern, difficult urban terrain. An Israeli military spokesman declined to comment on whether Israeli forces had reached the coast to the south of the city. Hamas fighters used anti-tank missiles to target Israeli tanks and armored personnel carriers as Israeli ground forces pressed into the city's outskirts. In one heavy firefight, Israeli troops were ambushed by a large group of militants, firing anti-tank missiles, throwing grenades, and detonating explosives, according to Israeli military. Here, we'll watch some of this. I'm going to put the sound on for copyright purposes. Soldiers engaged with the terrorists with the assistance of artillery fire and tanks while directing an aerial strike from the helicopter and missile strike from the naval boat. Dozens of terrorists were killed during the battles, the military said Thursday. Everywhere they go, soldiers are describing what they see. Terrorists who come out of tunnels, shafts, underground tunnels, under buildings, under hospitals, under schools. They see it all. Israeli Defense Minister Yoav Gallant told reporters Wednesday. At least 18 Israeli soldiers have been killed in combat, including Lieutenant Colonel Salman Habaka, the commander of the armored battalion, who was killed Thursday, according to an announcement by the Israeli military. Apparently, the highest-ranking officer killed in combat in Gaza so far. It was unclear if Israeli troops plan to press immediately deeper into Gaza City, a Hamas stronghold that has been pounded from the air for nearly 3 weeks, or if they will remain on the outskirts testing Hamas's defense and calling in airstrikes. Georgia Island, a former Israeli general and national security advisor, said Israel had succeeded relatively easily in cutting off northern Gaza from the south, putting its forces in a position to maintain a siege on Hamas. Israeli troops are now focusing on finding entrances to the tunnel network used by Hamas militants and seeking to kill them while they are still below ground. Island said to maintain a tight siege on Gaza, he said, Israel would also need to destroy tunnels that run from north to south that could be lifelines for Hamas. Gaza is probably the most fortified military position in the world. Well, I don't know about that. We are speaking about a tough battle that can last weeks, or years. pretty much what's going to happen. Israeli officials said that in the past few days they have managed to eliminate a large part of Hamas anti-tank capabilities. Clashes were also reported further in Gaza, including in the refugee camps at Al-Maghazi, Al-Baraj, and An-Nusrat, according to the UN. There you have it, folks. Getting ready to split it in half, which will just really make more of a guerrilla warfare scene that way. And it's already that. Anyway, if you like the content, smash that button. Subscribe to the channel. Toodaloo.